Hey friends! Okay, I thought what I would do today, being Sunday, is just share a couple recipes with you. Not much going on because, you know, it's Sunday. And so, I'm going to make kale salad, my way of doing it. I have been making it this way. Oh, I started last year making it this way. And I'm going to make some strudel. I will show you that. Now, I'm going to go over the ingredients of what I'm going to put in the kale salad today. And then I will also, while I'm showing you the ingredients I'm using today, I'll give a couple other alternatives, or if you just want to keep adding more to your salad, a couple other things to put in the kale salad that makes it taste really, really good. So, the first thing that we need is some quinoa, okay? When you make quinoa, according to the directions, it will tell you to put 1 cup of quinoa to 2 cups of water. Now that makes quite a bit. That's like if you're making it like for a dinner or something like that. We don't need that much. So I use half of a cup of quinoa, and that water ratio then breaks it down to obviously 1 cup of water, and then you cook it for like 15 minutes until it's cooked like this. And I have it in my colander because I have it draining. So that's about the amount that we're going to need for that. We need a radish, or you can put onion in it. Like green onions is actually good if you want to put some scallions in. A bell pepper. I have an orange one and a red one in the fridge, but because I have a lot of red going on here, I decided to go with the yellow. An apple, and the best apples that I like for this is either a Pink Lady or a Honeycrisp, because it has that extra sweetness to it. I also have put pears in, like a Bartlett pear. I don't even peel the pear. I just, core it, and then I just slice it really thin. And you can also put in some like mandarin orange slices. I wouldn't put like oranges from peeling an orange unless you're going to peel all the casing from it, So, I mean, that's a lot of work. You might just want to just throw a can of mandarin oranges in there. But oranges go in there very well. And today I had some pomegranates that I need to get rid of, and so I put half of a pomegranate in the salad today. I have we're going to need a lemon. We're going to need some either olive oil or grapeseed oil, and then we just need some pepper and some salt. And I have my kale already washed and prepared, broken up. I have a few more pieces that I need to break up, but I was leaving some of this like this because if you've never really made kale salad or used kale in any kind of cooking, after you wash your kale, what you need to know is this whole stem, and when you get into here to the thicker parts of the rib here, it's very bitter. So you've got to just pull your leaves off. I find it's better to buy your kale in the bunches than when it's already bagged, because when you're buying it when it's already bagged, they're leaving some of the stem pieces on there. The leaves are attached to the stem. You still have to pull it off anyway. I just find that it's easier. Just get it like this, wash it yourself, and then clean it. And so what we need to do, any parts that look bruised, this was one of the outer leaves of the kale bunch that I had, so this one's going to have like some pieces that need to come off of there. But like I said, you want to find where the rib is, and you want to tear your leaves off from there. Now, got this here, so I want to pull this off a little bit till you're left with that. The more that you come down here, it will come off of the stalk itself, like that. And you can even use those little pieces. And then we're going to want to take these pieces, and any parts that have like any of the thick stem, I just pinch it off. Get your leaves, into your bowl. And then what we're going to need to do next is go through all the leaves, and you want to make sure that you tear them where they're already going to be like bite-sized pieces. And I don't know if I already mentioned, but you want to make sure that your kale is washed already before you do any of this. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to finish going through my leaves, and then I'm going to break them up in bite-sized pieces. The next thing after that I'm going to do is start drizzling some of my oil. So your olive oil, your grapeseed oil, you want to drizzle it all over, not a whole bunch, start out with a little bit at a time. Then you're going to take it and we're going to go like this, and we're going to massage it into the kale leaves, and you're going to find that the kale leaves will start getting a really dark green, and they'll start to like wilt a little bit, and that's what we want. You don't want to overwork it, you just want to just massage it a little bit. It only takes a few minutes to do that. So that's what I'm going to be doing now, and then I will show you what I'm going to do after that. Okay, I've just drizzled some olive oil over here already. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put some salt in here. Not a whole lot, but enough just to get me started, because that salt is going to help get the kale where it will break down a little bit. And I might need to put, drudge a little bit more olive oil on there, but I want to get the salt and everything on there first. Okay, and that's what that is going to look like. It just only took like a minute or two. And remember, you don't want to bruise it. You don't want to squash it all up. You just want to massage it. Just kind of be gentle as you massage it. Now, it's at this point, I'll be adding a little bit more oil, but I've got to add my lemon juice. And this is now when I cut my apple. And I just, sliced it in quarters, and then I just sliced it as thin as possible. Be careful with your knife. I mean, the thinner you slice it, you really need to watch your fingers. But I do this step right here because I don't want the apples to turn brown. And this is the best time to put it in when we're going to put our lemon juice in. Okay, I gotta watch. I got a couple seeds come in there. And the juice from half of a lemon is plenty. This is what we want, just like that. And work the lemon juice in there with the apples. And then we're going to take our peppers and our radishes. And I'm going to need a second hand while I put in my pomegranates. Like I said, I love to have a Bartlett pear in this salad. Oh, it is so good. That with a sweet apple really is yummy. And then we're going to put in our cooled quinoa. Make sure your quinoa is drained all the way. You don't want extra moisture, and you want to make sure that it's cool, because you don't want it really hot, wilting any of your vegetables. So I'm just going to give this one more little zhuzh of the oil on here for the things that I just put in here, and a little bit more pepper and salt. And I've already salted a little bit, so I don't need too much, just a little bit. And then get your trusty little tongs like this. Let me use my other hand here, and then you're just going to toss it really well. And this is such a yummy, yummy, delicious salad. I could eat, because really the only people that will eat this is me, Harry, and when my daughter Carly lived here last year, she would eat it too. But I can eat this for lunch and then turn around and eat this for dinner and not have anything else for dinner, because there's so much in there that I just like to get like a big plate and just eat it because it's so good. So anyhow, that is how I make kale salad. Okay, to make strudel, what is strudel? Strudel is a German pastry, and strudel actually means flaky layered dough. Some people, they'll just use like puff pastry dough to make strudel, but typically that's not what you're supposed to use when you make a strudel. You're supposed to make a dough out of butter, sour cream, and flour. And You mix that, and I'll tell you what you need. You need 1 cup of softened butter. You need half of a cup of sour cream, and you need 2 to 2.5 cups of flour. But I say the half part, you don't have to necessarily put that half part in just yet. Start out with a couple cups, because you are going to put it out and just work it a little bit. And then as you're folding it over, you're supposed to do envelope style, folding the dough over, and I'll show you how to do that. Then after you get all of the other half of a cup of flour worked into that, then you're going to put it in the refrigerator to chill it, either for an hour at least or overnight. Then when we bring the dough out and we roll it out, then we need to add our filling. And there's all different kinds of strudel out there. Apple strudel, most people are familiar with, but really there's no rhyme or reason to strudel, because you could put in whatever you like. This is how I have been making it for many years. I put in some raisins. You can put in some dried cranberries, which I'm going to do. You need, for what I'm doing, I need apricot preserves or jam. And you could also use raspberry jam too, but I like the apricot. And then in addition to the apricot jam, you need some nuts. And I'm going to use almonds. Sometimes I use walnuts, sometimes I use pecans. It doesn't matter. There's, like I said, there's no rhyme or reason to, in other words, there's no right way. Like some people, they'll say, no, this is really the right way that you make it. Strudel comes in all different flavors. It comes in apricot, it'll come in raspberry, it comes in apple. And people, they add to the strudel things that they like. Some people don't like raisins, so they leave their raisins out. You see what I'm saying? Some people don't like almonds, and so they'd rather use walnuts. So there's, like I said, there's no rhyme or reason to the filling. You use whatever you like. I've even heard with some people with apricot preserves, they'll even put coconut. Now, I don't put coconut, but like I said, you can put in anything that you like. So I'm going to get ready to start mixing up my dough, and then when I have to put it out on the surface to show you the envelope style and how to do that, I'll show you that in a moment. Okay, so I've got my 1 cup of butter and my little pastry blender, and I'm going to just get this blended till, you know, like it's like you're doing pie crust, and it's going to start getting really crumbly. Then I'm going to take my half cup of sour cream, put that in there, and then continue working it. Okay, I just turned this out onto my floured surface, and I'm just going to roll it in a little bit of the flour, like so. And it's a little bit sticky. I gotta get these off my fingers. It's a little bit sticky, but that's okay. Just gonna get enough flour on there so that when you start rolling this, it's not gonna start sticking all over to your rolling pin. So I flatten it out a bit, then get my rolling pin. Whoops, you want to make sure that you keep your rolling pin floured and your dough floured. I'm going to have to back the camera up, sorry. But what you want to do is you want to roll it just like this into like a rectangle. Then you fold it envelope style. Envelope style means you fold. You roll this up like that. Can you see? You're going to fold it halfway like that. You're going to bring in your sides on both sides, just like that. And then you're going to fold this over. Put some more flour down here. You want just a little bit up there. Fold that back over so you can get some more flour over here. just like that, and a little bit more. This dough's sticky, so you've got to make sure that you keep flour on your dough and you put it on your rolling pin. That's why I say don't add that half of a cup, the extra. You need 2.5 cups of flour total. But you don't want to put all of it in at the same time, because then when you're doing this, rolling out on your floured surface, you're putting in more flour, and then you're not going to have that flakiness of your dough. So again, I'm going to take this, I'm going to bring it halfway up, bring in my sides, like so, and then pull this over. Same thing. Going to get my floured surface prepared, and that was pretty floury, so I don't need any more flour on there. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to get my rolling pin and start rolling it again. And I do this like about 3 times. Okay, just know this about strudel. There's really just 4 basic rules to strudel. Like I said, there's really no rhyme or reason of what goes in it. You know, that's up to the person making the strudel. It's a pretty straightforward pastry. It's whatever you like is what you're going to add to it. But the 4 basic rules of strudel are this. Number 1, it's a flaky pastry. Okay, so that's why we're folding it envelope style and rolling it like that. It's not going to be like flaky, like puff pastry flaky. So that's the first rule. You want flaky dough. The second rule is strudel will have fruit in it. The fruit is up to you. It's whatever you like. Number 3, strudel most often has nuts in it. And it most often has raisins in it. Now, this is where it becomes your pastry. If you don't like nuts, you leave the nuts out. If there's a certain kind of nut you want, you put that. You know, if you get a recipe for strudel like this one, I have the almonds here, but I typically put either walnuts or pecans in it. This time, you know, I've had so much walnuts and pecans with all my Christmas baking, I decided to put almonds in it this time. But anyway, like I said, it's up to you, whatever you like. Some people, when they're making apple strudel, they want like that apple pie taste, and so they'll put all the cinnamon in it. But there's apple strudel that has the apple filling in there where they don't have the cinnamon. You know, they just have the apples in there with some sugar and stuff like that, you know. So like I say, it's just really what you want to put in there. But those are the four rules really of strudel. Flaky dough, and it has to be like the bread type dough, and fruit, nuts, and raisins. Those are the 4 main core ingredients. Okay, here's the dough, and now what I'm going to do is take my apricot preserves, and you only want enough where you're just going to cover this with just a good coating of the preserves. 10 ounces was not enough. It covered almost all, so that's why I had another jar of apricot preserves, because I needed a little bit in there, probably about 1/3 of that jar. So now that I have all of this like so, I'm going to sprinkle on some cranberries, and then I'm going to sprinkle on a few raisins. So let me just show you. And you don't want to get too much, because you don't want all these raisins and all of this poking out, because we still have to get our nuts in here. And that's what I'm going to put on now. Just like that. A few more. Okay, and then we're going to close the sides to try to keep any of the jam from coming out. And then we need to start rolling this. Now, I left this opened quite a bit. This goes more towards the edge, so I'm going to start rolling from this way down to here. And you want to get it rolled not super tight because you don't want your nuts and stuff poking through the dough, but you don't want it roll loose either. You just kind of want it somewhere in between. And you'll still get some of that, you know, wanting to run off of there. And the best thing to do is just get a spoon. If you get a little bit too much like that, just pull it away. Now I'm going to get a greased baking sheet. I'm going to finish taking this where it's seam side down. I'm going to put it on the baking sheet. I'm going to put a couple slits at the top so the steam can escape, because whenever you're doing anything with jam like that, you want to have the steam to escape so you're not getting so much of the jam. It's bubbling up and it's going to try to, you know, ooze all out of the sides and that. And you might get a little bit of that, but that's okay. So anyhow, that's what I'm going to do now. Then we're going to put it in a 325 degree oven. And we're going to bake it till it's golden brown. And there it is. I just put like 4 slices across the top. Okay, I just took my strudel out. Now, you're going to notice that it split a little bit, and that's okay. I've always had my strudels, they split. And it's mostly because you roll the dough pretty thin. You've got heavy pieces of raisin and nuts and that sort of thing. So you know, as it's baking, it pulls away. There's a few ways that you can serve this. You can wait until this cools down and then just sprinkle powdered sugar on it. Or you can eat it plain. Or after it cools down, you can just make a glaze, you know, with a little bit of milk and powdered sugar and just drizzle it. That's usually how I do it. Sometimes I'll eat it plain. But anyway, I will cut this after it has completely cooled down. But I'm trying to zoom in. Can you see where it kind of looks like bubbly? That means it's flaky. And I'll show you what it looks like after I cut into it. So my strudel is cool enough to cut. But it's still a little bit too warm to put my glaze on. So I just want to cut it just to show you what it's like. And of course, we'll come over here, because the end pieces, you know how the end pieces are. Alrighty then. Sorry that I have to put you down. And it's still pretty warm. It is pretty warm. Because it's pretty warm, I don't want it to burn my hands. You know, the jam's a little bit hot still. But anyway, let me show it to you that way there. So to that way there. And there you have strudel. And I like to have that with coffee in the morning. So anyhow, that's it for me on this Sunday. I'm making sausage for dinner. I took out of the freezer over there homemade sausage. Remember when I made that the last week I think it was, and I put some in the freezer. I have that, and then just whichever else I throw together. But I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.